Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm up here camping and fishing, and I thought I'd make a video of this super cool spot that I found and this setup that I have. I've kind of got it all up here. I got camping, fishing, hiking. I got clean energy, plenty of shade, a sweat lodge, and kind of the whole deal. So I'm gonna be up here, detoxing and working on things, and I thought I might make some videos and make kind of a documentary of this, so you guys can kind of check it out and see if you like it. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna grab this camera and kind of go show you the setup that I have, and let me know what you think about it. All right, so let's start over here with the fire pit. Kind of have a back side to this and a front side. See, I have my tarp set up and my tent and my umbrella, my beach umbrella for shade on one side. Then on the other side, I got the fire and the sweat lodge and a couple things going on over here. So let's start with the fire. I dug a nice big fire pit, deep one, and I did that for a couple of reasons. For one, it's safer when it's deep because the sparks don't fly out as easy. It's just a lot better. But two, I made it nice and big because what we're going to need to do is put a lot of wood in there and make a pretty decent sized fire, because we're going to need to heat up these rocks right here. And then we're going to take these rocks over to the sweat lodge. And you can kind of see it. We're going to walk over there in a minute. There's not any blankets on it right now, so it doesn't look like one. But when you're ready to use it, you toss your blankets on and you heat up your rocks and you put them in the middle right there in that pit. And then you pour water on them. You got a sweat lodge, which is kind of like a sauna, which is really cool. Now, another thing, before we go over there, another thing I did really quick is notice there's a rock right here, right next to the fire. Then we have one over here and here. These are cooking rocks. So when I go catch a fish, or if I want to heat up a can of food, I can just set that can of food on the rocks next to the fire. It'll heat it up, and if I catch a fish, I just wrap it in tin foil, put some coconut oil and seasonings or whatever you want in there, and set it by the fire. And it cooks perfectly every time. The bones come out nice and easy, and it works really, really well every time. So, want a nice big fire pit, decent fire pit, and you want cooking rocks in them as well. Okay, next to that, we have our wood chopping station. We got a chainsaw to the left, did a pretty good job. We got a shovel, a splitter, a hatchet, and a handsaw. And also we got these gloves, of course. Next to that, we got our pile of wood. The chainsaw did really well with the wood, and so did the splitter. I might have overdone it a little bit, but maybe not. I'll be out here for a while, and we're going to need a lot of wood for the sweat lodge, so I thought that was pretty cool. So we got plenty of wood. We got our setup here if we need more. We got a fire. And of course, our sweat lodge rocks. And let's walk over to the sweat lodge and show you that. So we'll heat up our rocks and take them over to the sweat lodge. Now also, over here I got this portable stove. Another little portable stove right here. That little red one's pretty cool for backpacking. Some things over here. So that was pretty convenient. It's good to have breakfast out here and stuff. So anyway, we heat up our rocks. Oh, we got this portable shower. You can kind of see back there a portable toilet as well, which are both very, very convenient. So anyway, we heat up our rocks. We take them over to the sweat lodge. And what we're going to do is put blankets on top of this sweat lodge so it's enclosed. And when these rocks are hot, we're going to stick them in here. And we're going to pour water on them. And we're just going to sit inside this sweat lodge and sweat it out. And sweat lodges originated from the Native Americans and the Indians, and they would use them to sweat out toxins and impurities, and they would have all sorts of spiritual experiences, and it would help connect them to source, or what people would call God, or whatever you want to call that. But they were very helpful. They'd use them to eliminate toxins and have spiritual experiences and feel their interconnectedness with nature and all sorts of things. So that's why I built one, to come out here and detox and to help get healthy. And they're very enjoyable as well. So that was pretty cool. And like I said, it's a pretty fun thing to do. And like I said, we also got our portable shower, portable toilet, got a portable stove, some stuff we can use here. And then the nice fire pit and all the tools. And I'll write down a list of all this stuff So if you guys want to go camping, you could actually use this as a to-do list so you're not forgetting anything, because that happens a lot when you're camping. And it's no fun, because usually you only got a few days before you got to leave, so you can't really go back and get what you forgot. Right, so anyway, let's move on. Let's go to the front side of this. What we've done here is we've set up a tarp so that I can have plenty of shade and some privacy as well. So it's kind of nice and enclosed out here. But if you walk up to the front, we got our tent here. We got our solar panel next to it. And then the solar panel runs into the vehicle where my charge station is. And I've ran a power extension cord to the tent. So I have clean energy in the vehicle, a clean energy supply in the vehicle and in the tent, and wherever I want it on this whole campground. And we'll show you that in a minute here. But if you look back here, I showed you this earlier a little bit. This is a beach tent. I highly recommend getting one of these. It was only like 40 bucks. But this thing, it's amazing. You have it's portable, it's easy to use, easy to put away, and most importantly, you have instant shade whenever you need it, which is a very, very big deal out here. To have instant shade, it gets really hot. And that's one of the things that can really make a camping trip miserable, the heat and also the cold at night as well, which we're going to go over also, which is another reason why we have a good fire, so sit by that at night. And I also, if you're wondering why I lit one in the daytime, I did that because it helps with bugs, clear out your site, and when you put stuff in your, fire, I had cans and stuff in there, so it's attracting bugs, and they don't like smoke anyway. So the smoke helps clear out your site, so I like to make one every morning. Usually works really well. So anyway, make sure to get one of these beach tents, 40 bucks. And if I were to pick this up and stick it right in front of that tent, it's going to keep my tent cool. So not only can I sit underneath it with a chair or something whenever I want and hang out, but if I want to hang out in my tent, I just stick it in front of the tent and it keeps the tent cool as well, which is really, really cool. And it's really making this trip much more enjoyable. So very, very good investment. And I'll make sure to put that on my site as well, as long with the rest of this stuff also. So right here we got our solar panel. It's a 100-watt solar panel. And what I've done here is these wires plug into the back of it. You can't really see it well, right there. Plug into the back of it, and then they run. I ran them through this window. And if you open up the door here, this is our power station. And these wires come in through the window and hook into what we call this controller box. And I'm going to make a whole separate video on how to set up clean energy, but I thought I might just show you a setup because it's kind of cool and to give you a good idea. So the panels come into this controller box right here. And this controller box changes that energy to 12-volt DC energy. And then that energy runs back here. We have wires that run back here into this battery. And it charges this battery. As you can see, it's 84%, 12.7 volts. Not too bad. You'll get plenty of energy out here, especially at this kind of sun. So it's charging this battery. And then what we do is we pull energy from the battery. And the way we do that is we hook this inverter up to it. And this inverter pulls energy from the battery. And at that point, you can plug in your plugs right here into this inverter and pull energy from this inverter. So you can see I've got an extension cord plugged in here. And I've got my cooler plugged in. This is an electric cooler, by the way. If I were to look back, if you look back here, you can just flip this switch. And it's going to keep the cooler cool, which is really cool. All run off solar. Pretty neat. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. And I've got this extension cord ran back out my window. And if you look at this, also got plenty of food back here, fishing gear, and the whole deal. Got a really, really nice setup. But if you look back here, this extension cord, as you can see, it's coming back out the window, and I've ran it right here into my tent. Now if we go in our tent, we've got our power station. I've got this power station hooked up to the extension cord. Charges everything. It charges my lights, this portable speaker. I've got my laptop, my MacBook out here. I like this little light. This is pretty cool. It's got a little zapper thing on it for bugs. So they'll fly right into that, and it's a light as well, which is pretty cool. Got this little USB fan, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm really glad I bought. It's super cheap too. And everything that we need here to charge, you know, my lights and the whole deal. So this is a really, really cool setup. Now, if you look next to this, I'm going to show you this sleeping bag setup, and I highly recommend you get one just like this. Now, if you look underneath this blanket, this is a wool blanket right here. And if you look underneath this, I've got this sleeping bag. And this sleeping bag, you want to get you a good sleeping bag. And you're going to want to get you one with a head thing that'll go over your head. That'll keep you nice and warm at night. It's got a little hoodie thing. But if you look inside it, you can also see it's got a liner. And then it's just a cotton liner. And you stick it inside your sleeping bag for extra warmth. And that in and of itself should keep you super warm. And that's a really good setup. But if you, on the really cold nights, we also have this wool blanket. And this blanket is super warm and super heavy, and I highly recommend getting one. So with all of these combined, you know, the sleeping bag and the liner, this liner that we put in it to keep it nice and warm, and then this wool blanket we put on top of it, there's no way you're getting cold. You're pretty much going to stay warm no matter what. Now, if we look on the other side of the tent, you know, we got our clothes set up. That's kind of messy, but functional. We got our clothes set up. And next to that, we have the necessities. And when I say necessities, let's start with this hat right here. This hat, make sure you get you a white hat with a brim around it. That's going to help block out the sun. And it's also going to help from a lot of bugs from landing on your head too. And you can spray it with, you know, the repellents and stuff as well. So this is a necessity, and put this on your list if you're going to go camping. It will help you a ton with the heat and with the bugs. So it's a really, really good thing. Now, next to this, we've got our repellents. Now notice there's two different kinds here. We have this DEET stuff, and I kind of wish I wouldn't have bought this. Actually, all I use this for is I sprayed on the outside of my tent. I never put this stuff on my skin. I came out here and sprayed my hat even with it, and it was more like poison. It made me sick. I breathed some of it in. But if you look next to it, we have this Repel DEET-free lemon and eucalyptus. This is the stuff you want. This works really well. It's natural, and you can use it on your kids as well. So it's really, really good. It works really well. Next to that, of course, we have our sunscreen, which is a very good necessity, and I highly getting one with the squeeze top bottle, so you're not getting it all over your hands. Sometimes the fish don't like the scent. And of course, we got the wet wipes, toilet paper, and a little broom to clean up the tent. So it's not bad. Got a nice little tent setup. Got plenty of power, little fan, charge station. I watch movies in here and work on my computer, and it's really cool. So really quick, before we end this video, I'm going to show you guys out here. We got this lake, and this is where we go fishing. I just walk down there. It takes about 10 minutes. Go catch a fish, put it in the tin foil, and cook it on the fire. And if you look to the right here, this is where I like to go hiking, and it's a really good hiking spot. Now, if you look up here, this is a really cool story. Before I came up here, you can see this rock right here, and we'll make a separate video on the hiking and the fishing and the sweat lodge and the clean energy and the whole deal. But if you look up here, you can see that rock, and this is kind of my meditation rock. I go up there and sit on it and meditate. And before I came out here, I was watching the last Star Wars with Luke Skywalker, and he had a rock that was very similar. And I'm using the law of attraction and saying, find me the best spot with even the meditation rock and the best place to meditate and hike and the whole thing. And this is where I ended up, and I thought that was really cool because this rock is very similar to the one that Luke Skywalker was meditating on. So that kind of made my day. So anyway, that's the spot, and it's really nice out here. It's a really good way to get away from everything and clear your mind and to get healthy and to come have a good time. So that's really cool. We got our hiking, and like you saw before, we got our campsite set up, which I'm really impressed with. It's very comfortable out here and very nice. You know, the beach umbrella, don't forget that one. You're going to need that shade. You know, the tent, the vehicle and the power station and the solar panel and the whole deal. So we kind of got it all. Get one last picture of the lake. And of course we got the lake, which is really cool. And we'll head out there in a minute and make a video of that lake and the camping or the hiking spot as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it, you guys. I appreciate you watching this video, and we're going to end it now, and we'll see you in the next one.